Lovely.
Welcome to episode 27 of the Paropod with your hosts, Mark and Owen. We're at it again, talking about movies and whatever else we're going to talk about.
Movies, shy talk. You know how it is.
You know how it is at this stage. But yeah, this is one of our recommended feature episodes where we're talking about a recommended film at the end of it. But until then, let's get down to the real meat, the real gritty bits, the real brown talk. How are you getting on, Owen?
Yeah, I was going to say, let's just do our obligatory, like, how are you doing this week, even though we've been talking for, like, an hour beforehand.
Yeah. The preamble. The post-preamble.
I'm good. How are you?
Great, man. I'm living it up now. It feels like summer.
The
Glorious
first day of
sunshine.
summer, yeah.
Is it?
Well, no, it felt like the first day of summer, I meant.
Oh, maybe it is. Ireland has these weird seasons, doesn't it?
It's just halfway through February. It's like, okay, you're going to have like summer for 2 weeks, and then we're going to go back to winter, and then we're going to go into spring.
Briefly back to winter for a bit, dip into summer for a few days. Yeah, it was great because it was snowing last week, and then there's glorious sunshine and blue skies all along the way for the past few days. It's been amazing. I went out into the sun there yesterday. It was so good.
Like I disintegrated.
Yeah. I was like, what is this place? It actually felt like a whole new world. I've forgotten what it was like. And I went to Lidl, and I was getting stuff, and then I had it all on the conveyor belt, and I went to pay. It was all packed away as well, and I was patting down my jacket. I was like, oh, I forgot my card. I was like, no. I was like, I have my Revolut. Don't worry. But now I was like, I have to top it up. So I went reach around again. Oh no, I've forgotten my phone. I nearly died on the spot. I looked down. There's a whole line of people stretching all the way back to the drinks aisle.
Oh, it was just fuck, man!
Mortifying stuff. Mortifying.
What did you do?
And I was like, I was sweating bullets. I was like, my face must have been completely red, and I was like soaked. And I was just like, I've forgotten my card. What do I do? She was like, do you live close? I was like, be about half an hour. And she was like, all right, I'll just hold them all for you, but you have to pack them away. So I was like humiliated, forced to like pack all my things back into the bag and place it aside like a child,
Oh man,
sitting on the naughty step.
So
I had to go all the way back home. On my way back home, I reached in my pocket, realized I had 20 quid in cash in my pocket. I could have just paid in cash. It was all a complete bust.
Did you go all the way home and come back?
Yeah, I was already nearly home. I realized I had cash on me. Could have paid in cash.
Oh man!
And it was a nice day. So I sort of if it was raining that day, I would have I don't know what it would have.
I just said fuck that. I'm leaving that there.
Yeah, but it was a nice day. So I strolled around All Hallows for a bit. It's very nice, very scenic. Dogs out, children playing. It's just an amazing day.
Good vibes all around.
Good vibes.
Yeah, I should really leave the house when it's because like I've been running and shit, but like when I go running, I like to run like later, like after like a full day of like eating, so around like 5 or 6 o'clock. But at that stage, it's not sunny, so I'm not getting the benefit of the sun whatsoever. So I should probably go out and walk or something in the daytime.
Yeah, you can't run. I don't know. I don't get how people run like during the day. Like, you just get tired, wouldn't you?
Not only do I feel like everyone's looking at me.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah. There's always like that point when you're going out for a run, but like you don't want to like look like a fucking maniac and start sprinting from your front door. You have to like sort of walk it, but then there's a certain point where you have to make a decision. I'm going to start running now, and like I always find it extremely difficult to figure out when that point is. I have to make sure there's no one else that like can see me basically, and that's so hard to do. And like. In the middle of the city, like.
I know what you mean. It's like, at what point is it okay for me to start running and for it to not look like I'm a fucking weirdo?
Yeah. Just straight out the door, I'm thinking maybe just the simplest way to do it,
And I'm telling you what you need. You need to get yourself a pair of fucking running tights, because when you got a pair of running tights, you can run at any stage and it's okay.
Yeah, if you're walking in those running tights, people are like, what's that guy doing?
What the fuck is he doing? Yeah, because it's like the opposite effect. It's like it's weird for you to slow down when you're wearing running tights.
Yeah, exactly.
Running tights are so comfy, man. I fucking love them.
Oh, do you actually have some?
Yeah, no, I actually do. Yeah, because I like to like wrap up somewhat. I like to keep warm when I'm running, and I don't like on my legs. I don't want them to be cold, so slap on a pair of running tights, stick on a pair of shorts, got a jumper on and a hat. I'm ready to fucking party.
Jeez, would you not get mad sweaty, no?
No, until last time, until I warmed up a bit and I was fucking sweating.
Yeah,
I had to take off the jumper when I was running. Oh, it was just and then like my hats. I'm telling you, man. You should see my hats after I go running. Fuck me. Fuck me is all I'll say.
Ringing them out like.
Oh man, they're going straight in the watch.
Yeah, so it's good to see the sun again. You know.
I miss the sun. I miss people. I miss parties. Hanging around with people, having a few drinks, whatnot. Just like the good folks in Booksmart. I'm jealous of those fuckers.
Oh, what a segue. Love it.
Yeah, I watched Booksmart on Friday. Because I had heard a lot, like, I didn't know that this was like a comparison until recently between Booksmart and Superbad. And like, I remember watching, and even the fact that like the girl, I only recently found out as well that Jonah Hill's half sister or stepsister is the girl in Booksmart as well.
Yeah, Beanie Feldstein. What a name. What a name.
She is so good as well. The two of them are so fucking good in Booksmart. Yeah, because recently I watched, tried to rewatch Superbad, but I never really liked Superbad to begin with. And like, returning to it, I'm just like some of the jokes are funny, but like in terms of like, you know, directing or anything like that, it's not very creative. It's just a comedy, and it's not a very funny one now at this stage. Like it's like the jokes are pretty aged or whatever. But Booksmart is like, have you seen Booksmart actually?
No, I've never seen this film.
Booksmart is super creative and has these really cool, weird segments. Like, there's a bit where like they take ayahuasca accidentally, or yeah, it's basically ayahuasca. One of the girl that gives it to him was like, it's Asian ayahuasca, Asiahuasca, or something like that. And they turn into Barbie dolls for like a couple of minutes, and there's a whole bit about them being Barbie dolls, and it's very well done, but it's very creative and stuff like that. The music is very good in it. But the music is also very in your face in a way that I didn't enjoy.
Why?
It's
like
just very noticeable.
Like Juno?
I haven't seen Juno, so maybe.
You've never seen Juno?
No, I haven't seen Juno. I should definitely watch Juno.
How have you never seen Juno, you mad thing?
I don't know. I've just never seen it.
I think you'd like it.
I feel like, yeah, because like that's Diablo Cody as well, isn't it?
Yeah.
I probably would enjoy it. I like her writing.
But they had a big musical element to it. There's a lot of music in that. Like they had pretty sure they had mixtapes based around the film. But like just like it wasn't diegetic music.
No, jeez, no.
You know, I've forgotten what that term means in terms of like, is it outside the film or inside the film? But anyway,
inside.
It's not in the film. It's like pop songs that featured in the film because it's about teenagers and stuff. So.
Yeah, no, just in this film, like, at some point, at one point, like, a Death Grip song is playing. I was like, ah, nice.
What?
But it's just for a couple of seconds, like, that was, like, and it was
That's
really...
how you know Death Grips have sold out.
Yeah,
It's over. It's over. Punk is dead.
Punk is dead. Rap music is over. But, no, yeah, because even, like, when they played Death Grips, I was like, wow, that was really fucking noticeable. Like, but like besides like the music, whatever, like the soundtrack, whatever, it's good. But like it's just too in your face and kind of obnoxious in some points. But besides, that's not what's important about this movie. This movie is like a really wholesome, very supportive film about like, I think especially now, like it kind of hits where it's like looking back on the times that have gone by, and like seeing missed opportunities to do things that you always wanted to do, and deciding, fuck it, I'm just gonna do it now. And like, so I have like, because the girls in it had never gone to a party and they're going off to college, so like, fuck it, we'll have a party now. And I think like right now in the current situation, you know, you can kind of look back and like, I should have gone out more and I should have spent more time with like my mates or whatever, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, regrets.
Yeah,
know?
it's not even like regrets. It's just like lost time in a way that you didn't know was
Yeah.
going by at the time. If you know what I mean.
Yeah, it's like what's the word for it? Like I don't know. What would you say? What's the word for that? Melancholic. That's a bit too sad though.
Yeah, I don't know what you like. Just
Melancholy, I think.
yeah, it
You know,
is.
something
But
like
it
that.
is like it's just not like it. Well, it is kind of sad as well. Recognizing like, yeah, I could have spent more time with people or like hung out with
Mm.
people. Especially like in the film, it's all about like like the two girls or like especially what's the girl's name that we just talked about? Seth. No, not Seth.
Beanie Feldstein.
Beanie or
Beanie, yeah.
Beanie. What a
Her name's
fucking
Beanie.
what
Beanie
a fucking
Feldstein.
baller.
What a name. What a name.
Beanie's character like really judges people, and then when she gets to know them, she realizes, oh no, they're not the fucking idiots that I thought they were. They're actually pretty cool, and not only are they pretty cool, they're pretty fucking smart as well. And then her friend, who deserves a fucking mention because I need to remember. Again, we said last week we'll fucking remember actors' names and take notes. Or whatever.
Caitlin Dever, is it?
Caitlin Dever, that's her name. I remembered her second name, but I couldn't remember her first name. Caitlin Dever, she is so good as well. The two of them are fucking unreal in it. And it's really hard not to like the characters in this movie, even like the side characters, and because like I remember like Superbad, there's like a couple of side characters, but in this one there's way more side characters, and they're way more enjoyable. And it's not like I feel like in Superbad, some of the jokes and stuff are kind of like mean spirited, like taking the piss out of people. Whereas in this one, it's more taking the piss out of the person as opposed to the type of person they are, kind of if you know what I mean. And
Yeah.
it's very situational stuff, and like and then in the end, it's like, well, you actually didn't, even if you are taking the piss out of like that person, you actually didn't know that person. So you kind of they get their comeuppance when they're told like who the person actually is, and like, oh shit, now I feel bad because I've judged you and I've misjudged you and I've stereotyped you and whatnot. But it's very good.
Yeah, another Irish film, you know?
What?
Olivia Wilde, she's Irish. She's an
Oh shit, no way.
an Irish woman.
Well,
Well, she's not
that's-
really Irish. She spent her summers in Ireland as a child.
It's good enough.
She went to the Gaiety School of Acting in Dublin.
Oh, then I'm clever.
She's
Fuck
Irish.
it.
She's Irish.
Irish enough.
Her real name is also Olivia Cockburn, which is quite unfortunate. But, and she named herself after Oscar Wilde.
Oh, I didn't realize she's the. Have you ever seen her?
Yeah, she's a famous actress, yeah.
I did not know that. She's the blind date in her. That's mental. She's in loads of shit. Holy shit.
Yeah. She's big.
She is
But now
big,
she's a director.
and she's a good director as well. Fucking talented bitch.
She spent her summers at Ardmore. Where the fuck is Ardmore, County Waterford? Where the fuck is that?
Where the fuck is Waterford?
Waterford? You're not from Ireland. That's made up.
Waterford. That sounds made up to me.
Nah. Her paternal grandparents were upper class socialites of the British Empire. Wow.
Aren't they all?
Cancelled.
Aren't they all though? Aren't they all?
Goodbye.
That's the thing where
Yeah.
you just like when you see like especially like old like Irish or whatever like shit like that, you're just like, oh, you are definitely a fucking Brit. If
Yeah,
not, you're a West Brit.
yeah, you definitely genocided someone at some point, But we'll claim you. We'll claim you.
We'll claim you now.
As long as you wear that little badge, Irish, the tricolour.
And you
We'll
make
take
you
it.
make good movies. We'll fucking
We'll take it. We'll take it. But yeah, that's great.
yeah. Booksmart
Sounds
recommends.
interesting.
It's a movie that I've been meaning to watch, and I was like, I can't believe I haven't watched this yet. But like I thought for a while that Booksmart was 8th grade, which you've seen 8th grade, haven't you?
Yeah, yeah.
And I was
I've
like,
seen it, yeah.
I was like, I don't know when I'm gonna be ready to watch that, like to watch
Yeah,
8th grade.
I don't know. 8th grade's really good, but I wouldn't recommend people. I don't know. I wouldn't watch it again, because
Yeah.
it's so real. It's too real. Like,
It's too, yeah, no, I've
I
heard
was
it's like
I
too
was
uncomfortable.
cringing every time. Like, I watched that like in when we were in Vancouver, and it was on. I think it's still on Netflix. But it's your man
Bo Burnham.
Bo Burnham. Yeah, he's great.
Mm.
Like he's one of those internet legends. He's been around since I've been aware of the internet. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
I remember
same.
watching his YouTube videos back in the day. But it's really good movie. But it's like every scene you're like, oh, that's me.
I have been in that
Yeah.
situation.
Yeah.
Oh,
But it's a really cute film. But I don't know. I wouldn't watch that again. Maybe
Yeah.
you could get something out of it, I think, if you watch it the first time, though.
no, yeah, but I think I could. But I'm also just like, I always hesitate when like watching like cringe thing. Like I don't watch the second season of the UK Office for that reason. It's like that was a lot. Like every time, like, and I can't binge watch it either. Like it's a lot to take in. Like I've watched like a lot of Nathan For You, but I haven't watched all of it because like again, it's like I actually feel tired after watching it because I'm cringing so much.
Yeah. It hurts the face muscles, I think. It's like the wrinkling of the nose really gets at every scene, you know. No, but I love
But I love it.
I love The Office. Yeah, I love The Office and like Nathan For You. Like I watched them, I'd marathon them like no problem. But this like 8th grade is like it's not funny. Like it's just like concentrated, like, you know, purified cringe, you know. But like it's cringe. It's not like you're like, oh, look at her being an idiot or whatever. It's like, oh my god, I am literally her.
Yeah.
And what was I doing? Or like, you know, it's a very different kind of thing. It's way more
Yeah.
personal.
I know it's like with cringe humor a lot of the time like I get secondhand embarrassment from it. Even if it's a fictional thing, I was like I'm getting secondhand embarrassment and I just hate it. Like but I love it as well because
Yeah.
I still laugh.
Yeah. I don't really get that. Like,
It's a
but
love-hate relationship I have with it.
yeah, it's yin and yang, you know. Oh, but yeah,
What you been watching?
I haven't watched much. I have to say. Been getting into Adam Curtis's new documentary series. Can't Get You Out of My Head, but it's 6 hours long, so I'm both not going to talk about it, and you know, I haven't got even halfway through it. So
Yeah.
that's the thing.
What's the premise though?
It's just talking about like, you know, his whole shtick with like talking about power, and it's like really talking about conspiracy theories and stuff. And he's really good at like weaving stories, using like popular characters and figures from history and culture that everyone knows, but then like weaving them together to like create a story. It's almost like every episode is basically almost like a conspiracy theory, that sort of storytelling kind of thing.
Yeah, like
But
like throwing links together.
yeah, putting things together, but it's all true, you know.
Like the chalkboard, like oh I can tie this together.
Yeah, like like there's one. I think the first episode or the second one, he had one about Tupac, or not, but like Tupac's only mentioned briefly at the end. It's actually about his mother, who was a Black Panther, and she was part of the Black Panther 21, I think they were called, who were like sort of infiltrated by COINTELPRO, and how that like it goes all the way back. It's basically like it's like decades worth of history, but like he goes like through these really specific strands, and they all kind of like intersect at different points. But yeah, there's like he was talking about the Black Panthers and how they're subverted by the CIA, and conspiracy theories were weaponized against the powerless and stuff like that. And then he has like a little footnote at the end. Afina, I think her name is Afina Shakur, gave birth to Tupac Shakur like 2 years later or something like that. It goes into trial of the Chicago 7 as well, and Bobby Seale and stuff like that, and how Bobby Seale sort of sold out, and everyone sort of sold out after the 60s. It's very good.
Yeah, that was like
But,
the most depressing part of like. Well, not the most depressing part. There's a lot of depressing parts of like Trial of Chicago 7. But like one of them was just like at the end, and it's just like, oh, here's what they all did, and they all became Wall Street bros and like bankers and shit. And just like, I can't believe even the hippies. Are you serious?
Yeah. Bobby Seale became like a George Foreman kind of character. Like he sold like grills on like those sales channels and stuff like that. Like it's pretty depressing. But yeah, what was her name? I feel like I owe it to this woman to say her name.
I looked up Tupac's man. It just came up with Dear Mama. That's not what I fucking wanted.
Yeah, it actually is a Feeny.
Afeni, yeah.
But she named Tupac after some guy called Tupac, who was like a Peruvian revolutionary in the 70s and 80s. So like it all goes back. There's so many different links, and he's Adam Curtis is just basically like really good at tying together and sort of making you think about stuff. He's not even really he's not like a leftist or anything really. Like he's sort of enlightened centrism, but in a really like cynical way, and the way that he doesn't believe really he's talking about how people don't believe in anything, but at the same time he's like, the Soviets were wrong, but also the Americans were wrong and stuff like that. He's a good guy. He's well-meaning.
I have to give it a look. Is it on YouTube
Yeah,
and all, is it? Or is it?
It's on thoughtmaybe.com.
Sweet.
Has loads of interesting documentaries on that website, actually. But, other than that, I watched Kill List for the first time. Ben Wheatley's Kill List, which I've never seen before. I'm a big fan of Ben Wheatley. I love High Rise and A Field in England and stuff like that.
Ben Wheatley, like, he's like one of this podcast's favourite directors, I'd imagine.
Yeah, he is a king. He is a king. Very interesting director. But, yeah, Kill List is from 2011. And I'd heard a lot about it. But I wasn't really sure what the fuck it was about, really.
Yeah, because you can't really, like, explain... Well, you can really, basically, but, like, if you just said to someone, like, oh, it's just about these two hitmen going around killing people, that is what it's about, but it's not what it's about as well. It's about something bigger than that.
Yeah, there's something weird going on, you know? Because I'd heard about it, but I've heard a lot about, like, most of his films, but I haven't actually watched, like, Free Fire or...
Free Fire is good, actually. Oh, is that Ben Wheatley? Jeez, I've seen loads of Ben Wheatley films and not realised it.
But, and there's stuff before that I haven't seen either. Stuff before Kill List. But then I was reading about folk horror, and Kill List came up. And I was like, what does that have to do with folk horror? Because I sort of knew, like, the basic plot. But I didn't understand how the cult comes into it. Because it's about two hitmen going around killing people.
I just was like, spoiler alert for Kill List. You should watch it.
Here. Yeah. Of course, watch it.
Not many people. I'm only giving a spoiler alert because not many people have seen Kill List, but I think it's one that people should just go in and know. But it's pretty obvious at one stage that they're, like, at the very start of the film, that, oh, there's some cult shit going on, because you got the girl that, like, comes into the house and she takes down their mirror or whatever, and she draws a sign in the back of it, and you're like, okay, well, this is obviously cults.
Yeah, it's obviously cults, but, like, it's really it's, like, hard to decipher, because apparently he deliberately, like, left all exposition out of the film. Like, the story is never explained really at any point, like what people are doing. It's all just action in terms of, like, what, like, the characters actually doing things, and then you're supposed to read it from that, and that's it. But yeah, it's like, because it's set after the crash, after the recession, and in, like, the initial dinner scene they have is, like, the two hitmen and Jay's wife and Gal's girlfriend, and his girlfriend's a bit weird, but they mentioned that she's like a hatchet man. She's, like, her job is to go in and sack people, and she puts in, like, these really, like, abstract terms. It's like, I de-force the workforce, like, according to the bigger picture is what she says, which is, like, a big bomb that they drop in the middle of it and you don't realize. It's like the greater good kind of thing. And she acts weird. Like, she pulls down the bathroom mirror and it's, like, carves this, like, symbol into it. Symbol that, like, that's never explained. Like, the symbol.
No.
Or, like, what her role really was. But they have this kill list that they have to mark off, and they've been contracted out to kill these people on this list by people they don't really know, and they've no idea, like, why they're killing them. But they, like, sort of piece it together as they're going around. Yeah. They kill a priest, and they kill a librarian, and at the librarian's gaff, or in his, like, secure storage facility, they find, like, I think it's child porn or something like that.
Some form of really awful porn.
Yeah, something really fucked up. And your man Jay, who's played by the guy from Utopia, who's, like, where is Jessica Hyde? Like, he's really good at playing killers. I don't know what else he really does, but he's like a really bad temper, and he gets really, really angry and just sort of goes out of control. Like, he's not a very good contract killer because he just fucking loses it anytime he gets into, like, a violent situation. And then what's the next one they go to?
Then it's the rich guy. But the rich guy twist. That's
the MP.
That's when the whole film is just like,
oh. Yeah, everything goes weird. Because Yeah, because so it's Jay and Gal, and Gal's played by the guy who's also in a lot of Ben Wheatley films. He's in The Field in England.
These
He's
are
like
really
the
good
Northern
actors.
Irish guy.
He's a really good
Yeah,
actor.
he's really good. Yeah, and they're given the task of killing an MP next, but that's after they've sort of like they've tried to recuse themselves of like sort of back out of the contract. Like they meet up with their employers and they're like, we can hire replacements. Like they're gonna look exactly like us, but their employers for some reason are like hell bent on having these two men specifically do it. Yeah, it has to be these two guys. And I think Jay asked for a reason, and like the mysterious employer just says reconstruction, and like that's it. And then they go off to kill an MP, and he has like this big fucking mansion, and they're out camping in the woods, and they wake up in the middle of the night, and all of a sudden there's like a cult kind of thing going on, which is like has nothing to do really with the rest of the film, except for the symbol that she carves into the bathroom mirror. It's like a Wicker Man kind of thing, where they all gather around a circle, and they have this woman who's up on a gallows, and it's the middle of the night, and they have like torch lamps and stuff, and she hangs herself, and they all start clapping, and like obviously Jay like loses it. He goes crazy. He starts shooting into the crowd. Crowd chases after them.
This bit is like awful. Like I remember
so intense.
watching it for the first time, and like just like like my hands got so sweaty, and it's just like my heart was pumping. I was like, what the fuck is gonna happen? Because like at that point I was like, because at that point I was like, all bets are off at this stage. Anyone can die.
Yeah, I wasn't really sure what was going on.
And they make like animal noises as well.
Yeah, they don't. Yeah, they're like
like chasing them and stuff like that.
Yeah, they're like animalistic, but like, you know the way someone shoots into a crowd, everyone runs away from the bullets.
They ran at them.
Like, yeah, they ran at them. Like Jay shoots into the crowd, he kills the MP, and he kills someone else, kills a few people, but the entire crowd runs towards them. So there's like 20 people versus these two guys, and your man Gal, like the Northern Irish fella, he's like fucking leg it, you know. He's like they run into it like a tunnel system.
That's the bit where I was like, oh,
it's fucked. Yeah,
it's
so cramped and like disturbing.
It's so claustrophobic.
Yeah, because you know there's something seriously wrong, because these people are literally running at the people who are shooting them, and they don't care when the person in front of them gets shot down. Like they just keep running, and now they're trapped in a tunnel with all these people, and it's like it's just like, oh, you know,
it's such an amazing like escalation where it's like it is a violent, and like we'll talk about that later on, like when like Neil and all at the end of it, like it's a pretty violent film beforehand, but it's not really like tense and scary. But at that point, it's like such an escalation into this weird like with this weird space where it's really really tight, and you know that something like that there's gonna be a boiling point, but you don't know when the boiling point is. If you know what I mean.
Yeah. So they're stuck in that tunnel, and you're like, oh fuck. And you can barely see anything because you can only see by the headlamps that they have on. But it's clear that the cultists know the tunnel system and they don't, and so they're basically surrounded. And basically, Gal dies, and your man Jay sort of thrust into or he escapes, and he goes back to his family. And there's this whole thing where he's trying to get away from these people. But he was told at the meeting with the employer before, if you back out of this, or if you like go on the lam or whatever, you will die and your family will die as well. So he's like obviously very powerful, and his family are living out in the woods. And basically, you know, what you expect to happen happens, and the cultists catch up with him one night and have that whole sort of ceremony that they had before with like the lamps around in the big circle. And there's like a whole sacrifice scene where basically Jay is forced to kill his wife and child.
He doesn't realize it though.
Yeah, he doesn't know. It's called The Hunchback. Like it's just the film's sort of split into chapters where it's like the priest, the librarian, the MP, the Hunchback, and the Hunchback is actually his wife with his son strapped to her back or something like that. And so he goes fucking crazy as he always does. Like he has a very bad temper, and when he gets the better of the Hunchback figure, he just like goes mad, stabbing him in the back, and then he pulls the cloak away, and it's his son has been on the back, and like his wife is like bleeding out but like laughing at the same time. There's so many things in it that like I was reading that Ben Wheatley like deliberately left scenes in that had basically, or references to scenes that had been removed to like confuse you, but to like
yeah,
to leave like breadcrumbs so that
Yeah.
people could come up with their own theories. Stuff like the obvious one obviously is like Fiona, Gal's girlfriend, talking about the bigger picture and stuff. But like you also have his wife, Jay's wife, laughing at the end while she's dying on the ground, and it's like it's a good film, but it's pretty confusing to watch.
it is. Yeah. Did you notice at the start of the film, there's a little like montage or whatever where Jay is playing with his wife and his kid or whatever, and the wife has the kid on top of her back, and they're having a sword fight.
Yeah. That was
So it's like, oh, what's going on there? Like,
it's foreshadowing.
yeah,
But yeah, I think it's a film about the recession, but like not in like like a really particular sense. Like obviously Fiona is like a hatchet man or whatever. Her job is to sack people. Like they have like she and Jay have a weird interchange at the dinner table scene in the first part of the film, where she's like, "Oh, it's not personal, it's just business or whatever," and Jay's like, "Oh, it's personal to them, it's personal to their families," even though he's a contract killer,
yeah,
you know. And the whole thing with the reconstruction, the cult is talking about reconstruction. That's the reason that Jay's sort of been chosen as this person to carry out this like blood sacrifice thing. Like reconstruction is actually this. I think it's actually like a real historical thing, where churches basically purge themselves after when they fall on hard times, and in this case, obviously, the hard times is the
recession.
Is the recession.
Yeah,
The church is, I suppose, like the institutions of capitalism or like business or anything. You can pretty much put anything in there.
yeah. Especially because like the figures that they're going after are like a leader in spirituality, a leader of knowledge, with like so the priest, the librarian, and the leader of like political power, which would be the MP. And like this cult clearly it looks over like a lot more than just being this weird cult in the woods. Like they obviously are looking in and like to a bigger picture than just like being this weird fucking like cult in the woods or whatever. So I think it's like, yeah, it is like that reconstruction of order or whatever, but it being like symbolic of like a society as a whole reconstructing after, hard times, after the recession or something like that.
Yeah, because the fact that Jay's always been chosen, like specifically chosen, like the fact that they're not allowed to back out of the contract, and that there's also a scene where when they're killing the librarian, he has a safe upstairs, and Gal breaks into the safe and he finds that they have that this librarian guy has like surveillance footage and photos and like documentation from their previous kills. So like they've been following them around.
And he also says like it's a pleasure to be killed by you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the priest says thank you when he gets shot in the head, and the librarian's like, "Oh, I know who you are. It's like it's a pleasure to have met you," and stuff like that.
That librarian got fucked up.
The fingers, yeah, and the fingers was the worst part for me, because it's not it's out of nowhere, because the film isn't really that violent before.
Yeah,
and it does this weird. It goes really, really like all the way up, very suddenly,
and then all the way back down, and then it goes all the way back up again at the end of the film.
Yeah, it's unpredictable. But I like the folk horror aspect, which I sort of get now, but it is. I think Ben Wheatley himself sort of rejects that. Like he doesn't really see it. Like he says there is influences from The Wicker Man, but that's not like a necessary part of the film, really.
No, because I don't think the film. I think with like folk horror and stuff like that, it's very much about the cult, whereas this isn't about the cult really at all, and we're not learning about the cult. We're just like experiencing the cult from this. Well, I guess that's what happens in The Wicker Man, but in The Wicker Man you learn a bit more. But like it's very much about like Jay.
I think it's definitely about the cult, but I think it's more about Jay being in the cult but not knowing it.
Yeah.
Really. Like he's their chosen one. He's their guy. He's their like their Jesus basically.
He's their
but
Joan
he doesn't
of
even
Arc.
know it. Yeah, and he's gonna be well, he doesn't actually die at the end, but like the whole thing with basically the fear of being encompassed by something that you can never really get your head around, which is in folk horror is more about the landscape, like a lot of emphasis on the land and like fields, like in Field in England and Wicker Man, stuff like that. A lot about landscape, and this one is more about there's no real landscape. It's just about like suburbia almost mainly, and the business world, which is its own sort of ecosystem in itself, but it's like a very modern thing.
Yeah.
It's like an abstract kind of modern version of folk horror, but like that's pretty far away from the original meaning of the term. But yeah, I really liked it. I thought it was good.
I thought it's a very good film.
Very good horror film.
Yeah, it's intense as fuck. It's really intense.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good film though, and it's got like, I think it is like a very mysterious film because like, it doesn't even try to explain what's going on, or like try and give you a meaning for what's going on, and like, in a way you have to really, really work to like figure out in what ways, like to get some form of like a grasp on what's going on. But even still, like that's only to just get like a very light grasp because it's purposely done in a way that you can't figure it out.
Yeah, it's purposely confusing, which is, not like what you really want in a film, but it does sort of make sense because you sort of identify with Jay more because you're just as confused as him when things sort of happen to you.
Yeah.
And there's a line that there's another weird scene. The one with the doctor. He injures his hand and he gets infected and he has to go see a doctor about it. And the doctor's like, it's not his usual doctor, and he says that he's like, where's the old doctor? And the doctor goes on this weird philosophical rant and says, there's no moment, or the past is done, the future is not yet arrived. The only moment is this one. And Jay's just like, what? What does it have to do with my hand?
Fix the hand.
Yeah. So like, it's almost like the only moment is now, and you're almost in Jay's shoes, experiencing it as it happens.
Yeah.
And it's just as confusing to you as it is to him. It's like a cool way of putting yourself in the protagonist's shoes.
You're literally experiencing the world through Jay's eyes. Like, as he learns things, so do you. And by the end of it, Jay has no fucking idea what's going on, so therefore, neither do you.
Yeah, that's basically it, yeah.
Besides High Rise, because I'd imagine that's your favourite Ben Wheatley film, what would be your second or whatever?
Probably Field in England, like.
Yeah, I think Field in England might be... I think I might prefer Field in England to this.
It's also pretty difficult to watch, though, because it's pretty slow. And,
Yeah.
Like High Rise is really straightforward, and it's more of an action film almost. I haven't seen Free Fire. I assume that's pretty similar. But
Free Fire is pretty, like, it's actiony, but it's also pretty slow.
Yeah, but Field in England is like, it's literally just 5 guys in the field in England, and
weird shit happens.
Yeah, weird stuff happens, and like, you sort of have to accept that that's all it is.
Really.
Like
when I was watching Field of England, I was watching it with my dad, and I was like, I have no idea what that meant, but I liked it. And my dad was like, yeah, same.
Yeah.
Got that tense scene.
Yeah.
Oh, that is the most disturbing thing I've ever seen in a film.
Yeah, that's pure folk horror right there,
Yeah.
Literally set during the English Civil War, That's as folky as you can get.
And it's fucking horrifying. Like that tense scene, and like, part of the horror of it is like not really knowing what's going on in that scene, but you can kind of, with like the imagery of what's going on, you can kind of figure out what's going on. At the very least, he has broken that man's will.
Yeah. A strange film indeed.
Let's go. One of the Mighty Boosh guys in it. Julian, whatever his name is, can't think of his second name. Julian.
It's raining.
Oh, is it?
Sad.
Bad vibes.
Sad vibes.
But yeah, I also watched a pretty strange movie. I watched the new Nick Cage movie, Willy's Wonderland. Have you heard about this film or seen anything about it?
No, I hadn't. I'd only Googled it just there.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. What is it?
It's Nick Cage, like, in a haunted Chuck E. Cheese fighting animatronics.
Is that not Five Nights at Freddy's or whatever that thing was called?
Oh yeah, like it's basically Five Nights at Freddy's. Like, but this film was disappointing. Like, if I'm describing, especially after he's done Color Out of Space, he's done Mandy, and then the next film that he's doing is him fighting Five Nights at Freddy's, like Chuck E. Cheese characters. Like, this film's gonna fucking rock, and it kind of does. But it's also kind of pretty shit. Like, it's not on the same level as the other two films at all. But I think it really easily could have been. The main problem with this film is that it looks like shit, and the the camera work in it is pretty fucking bad.
Yeah, it's a great concept.
Oh, it's an amazing concept. And it's even it's heightened by the fact that Nick Cage doesn't speak in the film ever. He never says a word.
What?
And people talk to him or whatever, and he just sits there not saying. So he's basically like a silent video game character.
Yeah. That's weird.
But it was not what I thought, because I thought it was gonna be like a horror film, and in a way it kind of is. Like, it's freaky at the start because the animatronics are moving. You just see him he's like. So basically, the thing is man, Nick Cage is driving his car. Wheels pop on the car, and he's got them fixed. And he doesn't he's in a small town, and the guy that fixes the car doesn't have a cash machine and doesn't take card. So he's like, here, this is what you can do. You can work one night in this place, and they'll pay you. And so he's like, all right. He's like. He didn't say all right. He'll do it. And so he goes in and he's cleaning up the place, whatever. And then the animatronics start moving behind him, whatever. And he's cleaning up or whatever. And then he looks up at one stage, and one of the animatronics is in front of him. And it says it starts attacking him. And then he's fighting it off, whatever. And it scrapes his face. And then Nick Cage proceeds to beat the fucking shit out of it and just destroys it. And then he puts it into a bag, and then he continues cleaning up the place.
What?
He does not care that these animatronics are after him, because he basically knows that he can kick the shit out of them. And and then this big gorilla guy comes at, another one comes at him, and the same thing again. He kicks the shit out of it so bad that he gets his head and sticks it into a urinal and just stomps down repeatedly on the animatronic's head. Puts it into a bag, and then continues cleaning. And every hour, his watch alarm goes off, or whatever, and he goes off and he drinks a can of Coke or whatever and plays some pinball. In this.
Is this just a video game?
Yeah, it basically is like a video game.
What?
But the only problem
so
is
weird.
This film could have been amazing if it didn't look like shit. It looks really bad. There's a lot of. They use this fisheye angle, fisheye lens camera, where I was looking at the film, I was like, why the fuck do the characters on the left hand and right hand side of the screen look really weird? I was like, oh, the fucking camera is curved. It's why the fuck is that? It doesn't look good. It looks really warped, but for no real purpose seemingly, because even it's not even that he's in it makes sense if that was only in the in Willy's Wonderland, the fucking Chuck E. Cheese place or whatever, but it happens outside as well, and that just doesn't make any. Why are you doing that? Why the fuck are you doing that? And there's a bit where they basically use a GoPro he's fighting in a really confined space, and their solution is to just stick the camera on their chest. And you're just seeing it from that angle, and it looks like fucking shit.
That's rubbish.
It's it's rough. It looks bad. And some of the animatronics look really cool. Some of them don't. They really focus on one of the animatronics. Isn't even an animatronic or even a full suit. It's a woman, and then she's just wearing. For some bits of it, it's just a green screen mocap head, and it doesn't It doesn't. They did not have the budget to make that look good.
Yeah.
So even one of the main animatronics is just a woman's body moving, and you're like, well, that just looks like a woman walking.
Ooh.
And then at a certain point, these teenagers are trying to burn down the place because they know that it's haunted. and they know that he's in there, so they're like, oh, we gotta rescue him, because they don't realize that like he's a fucking badass and he doesn't need saving. Like they should
Yeah.
actually just stay the fuck out of it, but like he'll kill every single one of them. They don't need to worry about it. There's even a bit where like he gets handcuffed, but like this goes into the plot or whatever. But basically, the police of the town are like involved in what's going on. Like are basically sacrificing people to like the animatronics because the animatronics are possessed, whatever. So the police handcuff him, and while handcuffed, he kills 2 of the animatronics. And then for the last one, he just breaks his hands out of the handcuffs.
What? Jesus, this guy's invincible.
Like this, like it's like what I'm saying to you is way more fun and way cooler than what is actually in the like watching the actual film.
Why is it just? It looks bad. Like
It just looks like shit. It just looks real bad. A bigger budget, and maybe like better animatronics. But the animatronics don't even look that bad, to be honest. I don't know. They just look weird at some points, and they added CGI onto animatronics that they just shouldn't have done. Like it just like the CGI just looks really really bad and looks really really fake. And the story, like in a way, the film kind of takes itself a little bit too seriously for what it is.
how?
I don't know. It's just like it's really stupid, but like there's not really any jokes, which is kind of weird.
Yeah, that is a bit weird.
Like, but the jokes do come from like Nick Cage, like literally not giving a shit like at all. And it's like so at one point then the kids like break in, and these are the fucking dumbest characters that have ever existed. Like all of them know that this place is haunted, right? Yet 2 of them go off to the most haunted room in the fucking in the place and start fucking, and an animatronic that they know that the animatronic is haunted is in the room staring at them, and the girl's like, is that thing looking at us? And the 2 of them like, nah, it's fine, fuck it. So they just keep fucking.
What? Oh.
And then all those characters literally die within like 10 minutes of being introduced because they all die from being fucking dumb. One of them is like hiding from one of the animatronics. He knows like what the story is. He knows that like the reason why they were possessed is because the original owner of the place was a serial killer, and he had like all of his serial killer friends running the place.
His serial killer friends.
Yeah,
what?
like
That's make a movie about that. Like
Yeah, no.
that's that sounds amazing. They run a theme park together.
Yeah, no, yeah.
What?
And then they all like performed a satanic sacrifice for like with each other, like suicide pact or whatever, and then they took over the animatronics. Like that's what happened. So he knows that one of these animatronics, that's where it's coming from, and she's just like, I'll come out, I'm not like the rest of them. And he's like, all right. And then he just shows himself, and then she kills him instantly.
What? I'm not like the rest of them.
Yeah.
All right.
But like there's also a really good bit where like the main like girl, like as soon as they all are introduced, you know, like all right, these are all these ones are dead, and this is the main girl or whatever, and she's like fighting off one of the animatronics. But while she's fighting off one of the animatronics, Nick Cage is just there having like a fucking can and just like playing pinball or whatever, and then he comes in and he annihilates that animatronic instantly, and then he goes off with her to find the other people or whatever, and then they square off with the 2 of them square off with like one of the animatronics, but then his watch goes off for him to take a break, and he just looks at the girl, hands her a knife, and just fucks off to take his break.
What? Why? Like, how much of this film, like percentage-wise, is Nick Cage in? It sounds like that's like
80%.
That was written into the script, like his actual breaks.
He is like ready to throw down with this animatronic and kill it, and he could kill it in an instant. But his watch goes off, and he's like, all right, fuck it, I'm going to take my break. Here you go, kid. And leaves her, and he doesn't really care if she dies or not. And then she's just basically holding it off and trying to survive. And then Nick Cage comes in and then instantly kills it.
What? Why? Like, what? Like, what's the point of that character? Like, what's it trying to say?
Oh, it's just saying Nick Cage is the biggest badass ever.
Yeah. Jeez.
Yeah, like again, like the biggest problem with this film is that like everything I'm explaining to you is way funnier and way like more fun than actually experiencing the film as a whole.
That's a bad sign.
Yeah, and there's a bit where like he's fighting the main animatronic, and he's like fighting with it or whatever, and it hits him, and then it hits him again, but like it's slashing him, like it slashes his chest and it slashes his back, and then they reused those shots again. I was like, because I was like, oh shit, he's getting really fucked up. I was like, wait a second, no, that's just the same shot as last time. And he stands up, and it's just the same. Like he only has 2 marks on him. So I was like,
why?
Why?
Bad editing or like?
It's just bad editing, I think. I don't know, or like because, like it's so obvious. That I'm like, that was obviously a choice, but why? Like, why could you not just have him getting like one more, like instead of getting 4 hits in, but them being the same like set of 2 hits, have just 3 hits and just be different camera angles.
You should have been the advisor on this film. It's like
like,
so obvious, like
even like and the colors and stuff. The colors, like you think like with like Color Out of Space and Mandy, it's gonna be something like that. It doesn't. It's not on that level at all. It doesn't even try to be that colorful. But it does try to have like weird camera angles, but they just look like shit.
Yeah. Who did this? Is this like a studio production?
This guy hasn't done anything. Nick Cage was actually a producer on this, but like when I looked at like the writers and directors and cinematographer and editors and everything, they haven't like they've done things, but like I haven't seen them.
Yeah. Jeez, Nick Cage is literally the only known guy,
and he's the only person in it as well. I think like Nick Cage believed in this because obviously, yeah, it's such a genius idea. Let's just have Nick Cage find a bunch of animatronic, like possessed Chuck E. Cheese, Five Nights at Freddy's animatronics. Like, how could that go wrong?
Yeah, jeez.
And the horror, like, it's scary up until the point where like you realize that Nick Cage is in, like, one of the characters literally says as well, like, oh, he's not trapped in here with them, they're trapped in here with him.
You're gonna get sued for that. You're gonna get sued.
Yeah.
You know, that's just plagiarism.
That's just straight out of Watchmen.
Yeah, that's just quoting Watchmen.
You're not trapped in here with me.
Yeah, I feel like it was $5 million to make. $5 million. I feel like you could definitely have used that money better. You know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Based on what you're saying.
But like, I also think like maybe they did need a bigger budget because like the animatronic, like it's just guys in suits or whatever. But like, maybe the lighting and stuff like that could have helped. And like, a director that was like, that can really make use of like this space, because it's really, really badly edited as well. Like, it's really hard to tell what's happening in some points when the animatronics are moving or are up close. They look fucking awful. They look so bad.
Yeah,
and not in like a creepy like animatronic way. And like I can't tell if this is really bad CGI or if it's just like I don't know what the fuck.
Yeah. When you go onto the Wikipedia page, is like the list of production companies, and like everything in like the information bar is just like nobody has an article, but like one of the production companies, Saturn Films, and you go into it, and it just redirects to an article about Nicolas Cage. It's just like he's just, you know. It's basically just his film, isn't it?
Yeah,
basically.
it is. It's basically his passion project. It seems like, which is a shame because I think like it could have been, like this could have been
a good concept.
It could have been like another Man Leave. Like if they make a Willy's Wonderland 2, or they just like remake it or something like in years to come, it could be something fucking awesome. But yeah, as it is now, it's just not. It's not a very good film.
It's not ready yet. The world isn't ready for, or just make a Five Nights at Freddy's adaptation.
Yeah, just straight up do that. And the other problem as well is that like I was like, okay, maybe it'll start to get scary when like the kids like arrive in or whatever. But not only do they not last long enough for there to be any tension, like there's a montage of them all being killed, like like they're just too fucking stupid to like even consider that they could even survive. And like as soon as they encounter the animatronics, they don't even escape. There's not a chase or anything like that. It is they see the animatronic and they're fucked. They're dead.
Yeah, that's a bad way to build tension.
Yeah. Oh well.
Yeah.
I was looking forward for this film. Oh, they say it's right there, like on the Wikipedia page. There's already possibly a sequel.
A sequel.
Oh wait, it says if the film gets enough love and support, a sequel will be made. Yeah,
love and support.
Like, what the fuck does that?
Films don't get made with love. You need money, bro. Geo Parsons. Who the fuck is Geo Parsons?
Is he the director?
He's the writer.
He's the writer. Yeah.
The writer. Well, I wish him the best of luck. But I don't know. Just make Five Nights at Freddy's. Just make a film of the thing that you ripped off.
Budget 5 million, box office 100 grand.
If they have, is it on YouTube? Wait, actually,
it's on
where
YouTube.
did you watch this?
I watched it on
YouTube. Yeah.
Yeah, I paid €7 for this.
€7. They'll easily make that back if people are actually watching it. You know, 5 million. Well, actually, will they? I don't know. How much is 5 million divided by 7?
Oh god, the tagline for this is 2020 isn't over yet, kids. Jesus.
Yikes.
Oh, that's bad.
That is bad. That is bad. I disown this film. Alright. If 714,000 people buy it on YouTube, it will have broken even.
We have 714,000 listeners.
Yeah, come on,
Why
lads.
did you guys just do it?
I'm hereby starting the campaign for Willy's Wonderland 2. So, get buying.
But yeah, that was it. That was Willy's Wonderland. Do you want to take a break and then we go on to Toxic Avenger?
Toxic Avenger. Let's do it.
New York City, the world capital of culture and industry. Here among the towering skyscrapers, civilization is guided by men of progress and the wonders of technology. But for all this industrial advancement, there is a price to pay. Pollution. The unavoidable byproduct of today's society. Every year, millions of gallons of poisonous wastes, garbage, and radioactive chemicals are disposed of in nearby towns such as Tromaville, the toxic waste-dumping capital of the world. Our story takes place at the Tromaville Health Club, where a young man named Melvin Ferd works. Melvin's entire life, in fact, entire being, was changed by toxic chemical waste.
And now on to our recommended film of the fortnight, I guess.
Yeah.
of the 2 weeks. This is Toxic Avenger, directed and written by Lloyd Kaufman, alongside Michael Hertz, who's the other director. It is a story about a 98-pound nerd from New Jersey lands in a vat of toxic waste and becomes a benevolent monster. Woo! That's basically it.
Intriguing.
What is it?
Yeah,
I just looked it up there, like, to get that plot summary. This film is 80 minutes or something like that, but on Google it says like an hour and 50 minutes.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I watched the one that was an hour and 50 minutes.
Oh,
what was it on YouTube?
Did you? Nah, man, that was 80 minutes. If you watch it on YouTube, I'm sure it's 80 minutes. The one that did you watch the free one on YouTube?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was.
I don't know.
It feels.
It is
really long.
Yeah. It's 82 minutes, but the Wikipedia says 79 minutes. How many cuts are there to
How
this
many
one?
cuts are there? This Toxic Avenger.
This Toxic Avenger series.
Yeah, Toxic Avenger. What do you think of it?
Strange one.
A strange
one. I have to say, this one's from outer space.
This
you know?
is the strangest film that we've talked about.
It's a very strange film. Made
Bundle
by
maybe it was a bit weirder, but
yeah, Bundle is probably weirder than this, but this is like an exploitation kind of film. It's made by Trama, which I didn't really know anything about, but they're like, apparently they made porno and then they got into just making normal sort of exploitation films.
Mm-hmm.
I'd actually watched one of their films before, Jeff Town. I watched it a few months ago about a guy called Jeff Town who has Down syndrome, and he like abuses it to like get favors and stuff, and he's also an alcoholic and addicted to heroin and like prostitutes.
Yeah, that sounds like a trauma movie.
yeah, that's basically yeah. But like Jeff Town is like a documentary, it was like a real thing, and but it had that sort of weird vibe and that exploitation kind of subtext, I think. That but Toxic Avenger is so much different because it's obviously not about any of those things, and it's not a documentary, but like I'm not sure what it is really, you know?
Yeah, it's a weird it's a weird little beast. This like
Yeah.
this thing.
It's a cult film. People love it though.
Yeah, because when it came out originally, it was like completely ignored. Like it was like no one saw this when it first came out. But then it picked up a cult following, and then I think like it was like one of the first like midnight movies, and then it picked up a cult following from that, and now like it basically like started Troma. Like Troma movies now are what they are because of this movie. But Troma make really fucked up, really violent films that are really like violent in the terms of like being really gross as opposed to being like graphic in a way. I guess I don't know. Troma, like we can get again. This kind of ties into the subject matter of violence, which we get into later on. But like the violence in this movie is really fucked up and really like gross, but it's also funny in a way.
Yeah, it's really weird because the villains are like unequivocally evil. Like there's nothing redeeming about them.
They are the worst pieces of shit ever.
Yeah, but that's like the point. It's like it's really in your face, and their names are like, was it Buzz?
Bozo.
And, Bozo, yeah, and like Slug and stuff. I don't know. They're just like excessively cruel for no reason, and it's almost like the Mad Max kind of thing, where they just run. They literally there's scenes where they just run over children and like pedestrians.
That bit is so fucked up.
Yeah, it's just so weird.
That
and
is
like,
so fucked up. That's when the movie like really took like
yeah.
a really weird, grim shift.
Yeah, it's not really in with the tone of the initial setup.
Or
Because
the
initial
shit
part
that came afterwards.
yeah, not really, yeah. But even the like the broader story, like he's fighting corruption in Tromaville. But like the corrupt people are like they're not just like cartoon characters. Like these are seriously like evil people who like do terrible things.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not like there's nothing really ambiguous about it. Like he's just the good guy and he does what good guys do. But yeah, it's really weird. It's a really nice looking film. It looks really nice.
It does.
It's
Special effects are very good.
Yeah. The Toxic Avenger himself, he looks really cool.
He does.
He's a really cool villain or superhero or monster or whatever. But yeah, I don't know. Like, how would you even go about talking about this film?
It's a hard one to talk about. Because like I thought that there would be some more shit to talk about.
Yeah,
and
I thought there'd be a subtext or something like.
There's not really like there kind of is in some ways where like there's a lot of things about like duality. I think where I don't even know if it's duality, but like
The duality of man.
where like they had the police officer, but the police officer is a straight up Nazi.
Yeah, why is he a Nazi?
I like that's never explained. Like he's just a Nazi, but I think it's like
There's a shot. Yeah,
the
there's a shot.
police
in it
are
where
Nazis is basically what the film is saying.
Yeah.
Or like the chief of the police is a fucking Nazi. What does that say about the rest of the police force?
But then you sympathize with O'Clancy. O'Clancy's a good guy.
Yeah, but there
He's a cop.
there's some good cops.
Some of the cops are good, man. You just don't get
All
it.
cops, man.
Not all cops. Blue lives.
O'Clancy said blue lives.
Yeah. Yeah, but there's a shot in the film where the chief of police just does the like the Roman salute, like the Hitler salute. And like that's it. Like it's just sort of not really doesn't really belong to the scene. And he just does that. It's just that shot in there.
Wait,
for some
when he
reason.
did
I
it
don't know
first,
why.
I was like, I had to take a double take. I was like, wait a second. He just
Yeah,
and
why?
And then it's just like, oh yeah, he definitely did because he has a German accent throughout the entire fucking film.
Yeah, he calls the mayor Mein Führer. He's like, "Oops, Mr. Mayor," you know. It's like that trauma subtlety, bashing us in the head. But like that's all on purpose, It's like mad cheesy and stuff.
Oh, it's mad fucking cheesy. But yeah, like Toxie or like the Toxic Avenger, because he's not even. I don't think he's called the Toxic Avenger once in this film. He's called the Monster.
Yeah, the toxic monster or something, isn't he? Yeah.
But like, I think the whole thing as well as with him is like, he is a monster. Like he's not a superhero. He's he's a monster. This is like he's just drawn towards bad guys to kill bad guys and kill them in like really brutal ways, like really fucked up, horrible ways. Like that bit in the restaurant where like those guys did deserve what they got, but he also like massacred them.
They hold up a restaurant and they're about to rape a blind woman. But you almost, by the end of it, you almost feel bad for them because they get fucked up so badly. Like
yeah, like the guy gets like the shit kicked out of him, and then gets his face blended like while he's like, I think he sticks the blender into his throat or something.
Yeah.
Another guy gets like his arm ripped off and gets cooked, and then the other dude gets his hands deep fat fried.
Yeah. There's that scene where he killed the old woman, that was ridiculous.
That was ridiculous. And it's not explained until afterwards that she's a bad guy.
Yeah. You're like, why is he killing this help? Like, she's like a small person as well. Why is he killing this, this disabled woman? Yeah, this old disabled woman. And then it's explained, like, 20 minutes later, oh yeah, she was actually the leader of an international human trafficking ring. And you're like, what? It's just one line. There's no like story to it.
It's just like he's like, oh, we finally got him. We finally got Toxic Avenger. Like, oh no, she was like little Hitler.
Yeah, she was actually the worst person in this film. I'm not going to explain how, but she was.
It's just like, oh, okay. And you kind of just have to go along with it.
Yeah.
Oh God, yeah. It's such
Bizarre.
a fucking bizarre fucking film. It's a lot of fun though.
It is fun. It is, the scene where they humiliate Melvin, like is sort of the Toxic Avengers origin scenes.
It's really shit Peter Parker.
Yeah, he's like this, stereotypical nerd kind of character. He looks like the guy from Blades of Glory.
Yeah, he does.
Like with the big buck teeth and like the, but they like. There's like these bullies at the gym. He works at the gym, and he's terrible at his job. And he's terrible at doing everything.
He's so fucking bad.
Yeah, he's mopping the pool and stuff. It's like, what are you doing, Melvin? Like, cop on. And then the bullies are like, Bozo and all his crew. They like trick him into one of the girls like sort of seduces him and gives the impression that she wants to like meet up with him and like have sex or whatever. And he like puts on a tutu because she wants him to, and it's all a pretense for him to like go into like this dark room, and like it turns out he's actually kissing a sheep, and the lights come on and everyone's laughing at him, and so he runs away, but he runs straight out like a second-story window and into a vat of toxic waste, which turns him into a superhero. It's it's funny. It's so ridiculous. It's but it's cool, It's fun. It's fun to watch. But you're like, wow, poor guy. Because he's there writhing on the ground on fire for like 10 minutes. It's like, oh, Jesus, and running around the streets and stuff. It's like, oh my God, poor Melvin.
Poor Melvin. He really, he's a fuck up, but, he didn't deserve that.
Yeah. But then he turns into someone else, He gets like, the toxic waste gives him like super strength and like makes him grow like a foot in size. And he also, he changes into a different person altogether. Like his voice actor becomes someone else.
I think the voice actor changes multiple times as well.
Yeah. There's for the first few minutes when he's Toxic Avenger, he's like the guy. I assume the guy who's actually playing the physical character. But then it becomes someone else who's just talking under the audio track. Like he's not even blended with the rest of the audio in the film. He's just talking over. It's like a director's commentary, but he's the main character.
Yeah. It's so funny.
It's bizarre. Yeah.
Yeah, but like I like the way as well. Like they hold off for quite a while showing the Toxic Avenger's face.
Yeah.
And in a way, like that bit where like he's chasing one of the girls from the crew. He's chasing her, and she's like trying to hide or whatever. I was like, this is like a slasher movie, but like Toxie is the good guy, and he's chasing like this horrific piece of fucking shit who murdered a child earlier on, and I can't believe it. I can like when the film literally showed a child's head exploding because a car running over. I was like, I can't believe they did that. I'm amazed that they actually pulled that off in the film.
Yeah, it's really weird.
It's also really disturbing and fucked up.
Yeah, very disturbing, Yeah, very evil people.
Yeah,
'Cause
very
you don't,
evil people.
you never feel bad for them. But then, like, he does these all like Toxic Avenger kills them in the most horrible ways.
Yeah,
You know,
these
it's like
really
one of them,
fucking brutal ways.
one of them drives off a cliff. One of them jumps out of the car. Another one, he gets one of the girls and like sticks her ass on like a sauna and like burns her to death. And it's like, what the?
We don't
fuck?
even
Like,
know what he does the fourth one.
yeah, it's like Toxic, calm down, bro. Like, you're supposed to be above all this. He's
But he's-
torturing people.
He's not even. He's just like. He's like He's the villain that like Tromaville deserve, or like the hero that Tromaville
Yeah.
deserves. Like Tromaville is a horrible place, and they deserve like a superhero that is also a piece of shit.
Yeah. I suppose he's the discipline that they need because he cleans up. He really cleans up the town.
I would not sell drugs in Tromaville. That's for fucking certain.
Yeah. It's never even like it's not like he goes out to like fight crime. He's like it's explained that he's literally drawn to like bad morals or whatever.
Yeah,
and
he'll literally like he'll just find you, even if
Yeah,
you're
he's
not
a
doing
god.
anything wrong. He like that's how he gets the little old woman.
yeah. Because after he kills the old woman, he's talking to his girlfriend, and he's like,
Who's the
"I think I'm
blind
out of
girl that almost got
Yeah.
raped.
Who's the blind girl that was almost raped and that he killed her assailants or whatever. But he's like, I think I'm getting out of control. I can't believe I did that today. He doesn't even know why he killed this old disabled
Yeah, because
woman.
he doesn't know that that's his superpower, basically, that he's
Yeah,
drawn to evil.
But she was actually a human trafficker. So, all right, sure, Toxie. Whatever you say. This guy's gone mad with power. But yeah, then there's the whole storyline with the corruption, systemic corruption in Tromaville, where it's just like it's a justification for Toxic to do the things that he does because they're annoyed. It's like the Batman scene in the scene where Joker approaches the mob and he's like, "We killed the Batman." It's like there's a basically a scene like that where the mayor talks to like the union leaders and the criminals and the mafia in the town, and he's like, "We have to we have to take out the Toxic Avenger," and
Fucking
that's what
Heath
they.
Ledger
That's,
just shows up in the film then.
yeah. Yeah, it's pretty the inspiration for that scene in Batman. But yeah, Toxie also lives in like he has this actually pretty cool gaff in like a dump. Like that scene where he builds his own gaff. I was like, wow, what's the rent there like?
Yeah,
you know?
living it up, bro.
Yeah. Any
Like-
rooms gone?
Toxic waste, apparently it's not that bad, as long as you get a blind girl. It's like,
Yeah, that poor girl, yeah.
God, that bit where
Jeez.
she kisses him, I was like, oh,
Yeah.
that's gross.
So weird.
But yeah, and then like, because he's kind of like a Punisher, I guess, character in a way, where like,
Mm.
if Toxic Avenger's coming after you, you're fucked. Like he's not gonna spare you. You're gonna die in a really brutal way.
Yeah, you are fucked. He's toxic. He's got radiation powers.
He's got
You know?
really, really bad radiation powers.
Yeah, he's big, he's tall. He's got a tutu. He's got a brown tutu.
He's got a shit stained tutu. I've heard that the tutu is a reference to something, but I can't remember what it was.
A reference.
It's a reference to something, some other 80s film, or whatever. But yeah, no, that's what I was gonna say. Like I like the way that like at the start of the film, it's a very 80s film with the gym, and like they're all smoking in the gym and shit like that, and like they're always working out. Like seemingly everyone in Tromaville goes to this fucking health center because even like the mayor and shit is there working out, and the police are there like working out. Everyone goes there to work out, and it's like a montage of like muscles and boobs. There's a lot of boobs and like
A lot of boobs in this.
a lot of boobs in this movie. A lot of great boobs, honestly, great boobs. But a lot of like biceps and arms and shit. And it's like working out, like it's that home workout video kind of feel to it, nearly.
Yeah, a lot of spandex.
A lot of
A lot of
spandex
spandex going. A lot of lycra going on.
and a lot of fucking oils going onto skin and like
there's just
rubbing it up.
bodies rubbing off each other and stuff like that. And it's all like it's in like a really like poppy technicolor as well.
Oh, the music in this film is really good.
Yeah, it's really 80s, very 80s film. The music is like, that kind of music that are like fitness video kind of thing, kind of vibe.
But like, what I was gonna say is it's a parody of the 80s, but it came out in 84. Like, it came out in a really early stage of the 80s, and then all of a sudden it's critiquing things that like the 80s will be known for while being the most 80s movie ever.
It was prescient. It was before its time. Like shit that films would do later, like in the 90s and the 2000s. Toxic Avenger was doing like as it was happening. It's a film on the ground, on ground zero. Ground zero of a lot of things. And
it inspired a lot of like indie movies. It showed you like what you could do with like a really low budget. Because this film is like fucking 500,000. Like, that's what the budget was on this thing. It's a very cheap movie. Wait, am I right? It was 500,000. I'm
500 G's.
Is that made up? Did I just make
No, it is. Yeah.
Oh, thank
I'm
God.
looking at it right now. According to Wikipedia, it is.
Yeah, like this is a low fucking budget movie, and it kind of shows you what you can do, with a low budget, which is cool, and some like really clever use of like special effects. Like that kid getting his head run over was just a watermelon, but like it's really fucked up.
Yeah, it is. It's really weird. Like they're driving around looking for people. They have a point system, looking for people to run over.
Minorities are extra points.
Yeah, minorities and was it gays or something, or women?
Women, gays, any form of minority, and they call them minorities by all the slurs. Like they're just using all the slurs, and then kids are double points.
Yeah, kids are double points, and they're drinking. They're drinking like full bottles of Jack Daniels at the same time. It's so over the top. It's ridiculous.
And then they're taking photos afterwards.
Yeah. I thought that was going to come up again, but it didn't really. But
no, not really.
Yeah, there's a lot of directions this film could have gone in. It just goes and it just stays with Toxie the entire time.
I remember reading a bit of the trivia. I'm not sure if it was like Toxic Avenger 1 or it could have been Toxic Avenger 2, but Lloyd Kaufman realized that he shot too much footage, so he had to split it into 2 movies.
Oh jeez, yeah,
so
it's probably the sequels.
I think it might have been this one, and he just used footage from this one in the sequel, and just shot more shit for the sequel. Which is hilarious. That is so, like, how the fuck did you do that?
Yeah, what was apparently he had the idea to make a horror film that was set in a health club while he's working as production supervisor on the set of Rocky. I don't know how those things, like how did any of those things make any sense together? But that was apparently Lloyd Kaufman's thought process in initiating production on this.
Yeah, I mean, like,
very strange guy, very strange man.
It kind of is a horror movie in a way.
Yeah, but what does that have to do with Rocky? How did he come up with this on the set
I think
of
it's
Rocky?
just the idea of like a training montage and like punching people really hard and stuff like that.
Maybe, yeah.
Because like if Eye of the Tiger was playing in this film, it would make perfect sense.
Yeah, that would have really fit in.
But yeah, like it's such a strange fucking weird movie because like it's a short film, but it feels like it goes on for quite a while.
Yeah, a lot happens in it. Yeah, the whole part where he's just like cleaning up Tromaville felt really long to me, but it's only like 20 minutes, 25 minutes, and then he has his arc where he's exiled, he's expelled into the wilderness where he lives in a tent with his blind girlfriend. Yeah, and they call in the National Guard to hunt this guy down, and it doesn't go great for the old mayor. I tell you that. The
mayor gets punched so hard that his stomach falls out.
Yeah, Toxie says, "I want to see if you have any guts," and then he rips out his intestines.
Fuck me, Toxie.
Ridiculous. Yeah,
fuck me.
Fucking hell. Ice cold.
But yeah, I'm glad I watched this movie.
Yeah, it is.
I regret recommending it, but I'm glad I watched it. I kind of wish I recommended a different film, but
yeah,
because there isn't really a lot to talk about. I don't think with this film.
Yeah,
unless you just want to go through the entire film.
Well, maybe Toxie represents the state, the power of the federal state government, impressing itself on the, the sort of the local fiefdoms of municipal power and, like, alternative crime networks and stuff like that, Like, Toxie has the approval of the governor. That's the whole thing, The governor says, take him alive. And the mayor's like, no, he's too much of a threat to my interests here in Tromaville.
He's killing too many people. Well, he kills a lot of people. He kills a lot of people.
He's killing too many of the right people. That's the thing. He's getting to the right places. He's crushing local power. Toxie is the deep state in action. He's an agent of the deep state. He even arises out of waste material from federal government projects. Toxic waste,
This is true. And beforehand, he's a complete fucking loser.
Yeah.
God, Melvin, like, I'd fucking bully Melvin. I don't like bullies, but, like, I'd fucking bully Melvin.
Yeah.
That dude fucking deserves it.
He was a strange guy. Bit of a perv as well,
He was a bit of a perv.
Bit of a weirdo, like. Bit toxic himself.
He was. I guess as well, like, that's like, the Tromaville as a place is just so awful and so shit and so toxic that it creates these toxic people and therefore created a toxic hero who is just gonna fucking annihilate you.
Yeah, the toxic masculinity man. Superhero. That's the modern super. That's what the reboot should be about.
I don't know, man. If the reboot's being done by Trama, I don't think they're gonna give in. I don't think Trama do subtext at all.
They should do it. It'll work great. Yeah, is it not someone else who's doing it? Legendary are gonna do it. Legendary doing the reboot.
You know that there was a kids show.
Yeah, they had a cartoon. Yeah.
Toxic Crusaders.
That's terrible. That's a terrible name.
But, like, that was a kids show that came from this fucking movie. Like, are you serious? Could you imagine if, like, there's a kids version of fucking, like a Serbian film or something?
Yeah. Yeah, man. It's the people who made Black Klansman and Detective Pikachu are making the reboot.
They are two wildly different films. I have no idea what they could do with this.
Macon Blair is the writer and the director. He's the guy from Green Room and Blue Ruin. You know that guy?
Oh, I feel like he'd get it.
I feel like he knows.
Yeah.
Gets it.
I'd worry that they're making like really serious. But I also don't know how you could like make it serious.
I think you could easily make that serious.
Yeah, I know, but like I think a lot of Toxic Avenger is the fact that it's not fucking serious, and that's why people like it.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of stuff you could do with it. A lot of directions you could go in. Because it's a good concept. It's a great concept. The Toxic Avenger.
Oh my god, he is like. I'm looking at the Toxic Crusader like list or whatever. They have some fucking amazing villains, such as Zar Zasta.
Wow. Yeah, the front cover of the DVD set, I think, says it all.
It really does.
It just says it all.
Yeah, it's just fucking Beatles ripoff.
It's just four guys walking across Abbey Road.
But they're
toxic.
What are their names? We got Toxie, No Zone, Major Disaster, Headbanger, and Junkyard. That's the Crusaders. And looking at this image, I couldn't tell you which one would be which.
Yeah, you can't zoom in on this thing. It's such a small image. No one bothered to scan this. It's just taken from some random photo.
It's the smallest like JPEG image they could make.
Yeah. You can't even see who's who.
No.
Oh.
Toxic Crusaders. Apparently it's on Amazon.
Yeah, Amazon is definitely that's the kind of thing I would have.
Oh yeah, that was Toxic Avenger. Unfortunately, there was no subtext. There's nowhere that we could go. This is just like kind of just talk about the movie. Yeah, do you want to go into listener questions?
Yeah, listener questions. If you want to ask us a question, you can get to us at @paro_pod on Instagram or on Twitter. Or you can email us, as always, at theparopod@gmail.com.
Mark, that's probably the best, like, either one of us have done in, like, fucking weeks saying that.
We just copy and paste that.
Alright, the first question is coming in from Neil Wall. And Neil is asking us, what is the last film that we cried at? Do you cry often at movies?
No. Because I rarely watch a sad film, you know? Like, you know that Futurama episode Jurassic Park?
Oh, man.
That's one of those things.
As soon as you said
if that's on
Futurama,
TV,
I knew what one you were talking about.
Yeah. I think everyone knows that episode. But if that's ever on TV, like, I haven't watched that film or that episode in so many years because it's just like, it's gonna make me sad. I don't want to be sad, you know?
Yeah.
So that's basically my thought process behind sad films. So.
Yeah, I think, like, I don't really get, even if a film is sad, I don't really, it's very rare that, like, I'll, like, tear up or anything. But that did happen this year with Mommy. Mommy got me because Mommy gets me good. Mommy gets me good. That film is amazing. That film made me tear up, like, fully tear up and, like, shed a tear afterwards, like, when I think about it afterwards. Just because you like the character so much and, like, everything that happens is so sad. But even today, and this isn't even to do with I finished Gravity Falls today, and, like, the ending isn't even sad, but, like, it's a sense of, like, growing up and, like, summer ending and, like, you know that all that shtick or whatever. But it's like it really it tied into, you know, obviously, like, the ending of the TV show. But it's just this thing where it's like, I hate ending TV shows. Like, even if an ending of a TV show is happy or anything, I feel, like, sad, and I might, like, actually tear up. It doesn't matter if the fucking ending, it doesn't matter what the ending is. It's just the simple fact that the TV show is over, and I've spent so fucking long with these characters.
Yeah.
And I've enjoyed the world so much, so I'm just like, I don't want it to end.
Yeah, I remember when Breaking Bad ended. And it's like, it's a pretty good ending, but I was just like, damn, you know. It's a great feeling to watch the last episode, to follow along as an episode or as a TV series finishes.
Especially when you're watching it slowly. Like, I don't know, because I'm watching Sopranos real fucking slow. And, like, I really feel like I've been, like, even, like, I'm like halfway through at the moment, and it's going to take me, like, another year probably to finish it or whatever.
What?
No, it won't take it that long, but, like, don't worry, I'll speed up. But, like, I didn't watch any episodes last week. But, like, by the time I had started it and by the time I finish it will have been, like, the guts of a fucking year. And that's a very long time, but there's something to be said about watching a show really slowly and taking your time with it. And, like, not to say, like, it might be, like, I don't like binging things, but, like, obviously I don't care if people binge things, but I think that might be, like, a bit of a problem when you're binging something that, like, you don't, like, soak in with the characters, if you know what I mean. But you obviously do, but, like, on a different way, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, I watched Sopranos. I basically binged Sopranos. Probably the first series I binged or since, like, Breaking Bad, really.
I haven't binge watched
since way
in
back
ages.
at the dawn. Yeah, since the dawn of the golden age of TV shows. Because I don't really watch TV shows, but I sort of binge watched it in about a month-ish, I'd say.
Yeah.
And I felt emotionally attached to the characters, but at the same time, I wasn't like, I didn't cry at any episodes. I didn't get like, when it ended, I wasn't like, oh my god, I was like there's a hole in my life for sure. There's a big fat Tony Soprano shaped hole.
There's such a loss when you end a TV show.
Yeah, but I was also like, this is an opportunity to get something else. I wasn't, maybe if I'd sort of, been more of a slow burn on it, it would have been different. But I don't know. I don't really watch TV like that. So, serialized over long periods of time, because I've never really stuck with a TV series as it comes out. Except maybe.
I did it with Breaking Bad though, like, because I caught up with Breaking Bad, and then, like, there was, I think when I caught up with Breaking Bad, I caught up with season 4. So then when season 5 or season 6, I think season 5, whichever the last season was, I'd caught up at that stage, and then I was watching that serialized, and it felt really weird to have been like binge watching it, and then having the show forcing me to stop and be like, no, bitch, you're gonna fucking wait.
Yeah, once a week. I remember getting up early every week when it came out, because I think I caught up at the end of season 5 part 1, and then I watched season 5 part 2 as it came out, and it was a cool, cool contrast, as you say, but it was like, I don't know if it made much of a difference in terms of my attachment to it, because it's such a long kind of slog, that series, 60 episodes. You really love that man at the end, even though he's the villain,
Yeah.
What a great
I think
guy.
it's way easier for TV shows to do that than films. I
Mm.
can't think of a film. Yeah, like, fuck all, like, maybe I'm just a fucking emotional husk, but like, if I'm like, films that like, yeah, I don't know, just like, it takes a lot for film to like make me tear up and cry. But some people I know, so like I know a lot of people like will just can tear up and easily cry at things. I'm just not.
Oh yeah.
Just unfortunately, I have to be in the right mood.
Yeah, I remember I cried at the remake of Suspiria earlier in the year, but then I sort of went back and watched it again. I didn't really understand why. It's like the Notebook ending. It's like, it's sad, but like, I think I was just in a vulnerable position that day. I was like, oh my god, this is so sad.
Yeah, I think as well, like, a film has to hit me like on a vulnerable day. Like, if I was to watch a sad film, I was not feeling the best today. So if I watched a sad film today, that thing would hit me like a fucking truck.
Yeah.
Especially at the man, films can hit you really easily now. Like, in our current climate, where like, if something's talking about like nostalgia and something like that, that will hit me, man. You want to know what actually nearly made me cry the last thing that always made me cry, right? I'm gonna play this for you, right? I'm gonna play it for the fucking for the audience as well, so they can hear it as well, right? But or I might play it for you and then edit it in for the actual audience, right? I was very hungover on Saturday, and I was going through TikTok, and this TikTok came up, and this sound hit, and when this fucking sound hit, I was like choking up, right?
We have our heading.
Here we go!
From the magic within our hearts to the adventure beyond the horizon.
Do you remember that?
No, what's that?
Oh man, that's the fucking
What's
it's
that?
the music that played at the start of Disney DVDs.
Ah,
It was the advertisement for like
yeah.
all Disney. It was like purposely nostalgic. It was made to draw nostalgia out of you for like other shows or for out of films, whatever. But now that sound itself is nostalgic.
Yeah, that's a phenomenon. There's something to be said about
But
that.
man, that hit me. I was like, I was in fucking bits.
Yeah. Isn't it weird you get nostalgic over ads?
Mm.
I get that as well. Sometimes it's just like weird ads on like maybe videotapes I've watched like 100 times before when I was younger, and then like you get like maybe a little snippet of it. You see it online somewhere. You're like, what? You're like,
Yeah.
oh my god.
Oh, it's weird.
I love that ad. It's like, what?
I think
you know?
because like when you're watching, like, films can be nostalgic, but like ads in a way are like can really be more nostalgic, because like when you're watching a film, you're just like watching a film or whatever, but when you're watching an ad, you're not really expected to just be teleported back to like when you're like 5 years old, like sitting in front of the TV watching this film. Like ads can hit you
Yeah, it's
in
like
an
that,
unexpected way.
It's like that scene in Dumb and Dumber where they're watching the TV and the ad for like the, that ad. I don't know. It's like a famous one for like the real estate company, and they're watching it, and you think it's a movie, but then like the logo comes up, and it's just Lloyd and Harry crying and like wiping their tears with their dollars that they found in the briefcase. It's like it's such a funny scene.
Yeah. I think as well, it's actually I think the thing with the ads as well is that like when you watch a film, you kind of know that you have nostalgia for that film. Like, I know a nostalgic film for me is Tarzan or Dumbo or Dinosaur, because they're the ones I watched when I was a kid, or Peter Pan. They're the ones I watched as a kid, so I know I have a sense of nostalgia for them. I had completely forgotten that fucking ad, and then it comes up and like it hit me so fucking hard because I completely forgot about it, but instantly recognized it. They're the best yet. I really hope I caused that for some people that are listening to this.
Yeah. God bless. Strange times.
Fucking Disney, you rat bastards.
Yeah, you fucking manipulative scumbags. Disney are toxic.
But you know what? Thanks for the childhood.
God bless.
We move on to the question to the listeners.
To the question to the listeners. Thoughts on violence in media. Can ultra-violence, gore, stuff like that have a meaning in films? Or is it just violence for violence sake? And does violence in media have an effect on us as an audience? Does it influence us, desensitize us, stuff like that? And Keane is telling us that violent movies have made him extremely violent and that he hurts people often. This is pretty concerning to hear.
It's like the first time Keane has ever fucking replied to this.
It's great to hear from him, but I'm quite worried about what I'm hearing. I think that says it all, really.
This is pure hypodermic needle model in action right here.
The hypodermic needle model has penetrated our
good friend Keane.
Brains. Yes. All of us,
here,
really.
Let me pull up my fucking college notes. Where are they?
You still have them?
Somewhere I do. Maybe I don't think first year, but I definitely have I do know I have like under my laptop I have this box and I have like my notes from back then. Never know they might be come in handy for something. But
the hypodermic
needle model, let me tell you.
It's you can apply it to anything, everything, you know? It's everywhere. It's like algebra.
But I mean we basically fucking studied like media effects is basically what our degree was mostly in. But
we're basically qualified, certified to talk about.
Yeah,
this
let me
subject.
tell you, encoding, decoding, Stuart Hall. What was another one?
Whatever stuff like that.
Other theories, but
and all the others.
And all the other theories. That other fucking bullshit. I paid for. I can't believe I paid to learn that bullshit. But yeah, like what do you think about this, about violence in media and shit like that?
Violence in media, I think there's a yes and no.
Yeah, I think
that's about it.
I think with most shit it is just like a case by case like basis for everything. Like you can't just give a blanket like the same thing with like director's cuts and shit. You can't just give a blanket yes and no statement to anything.
Yeah.
It's always like somewhere in the middle.
Yeah, I read a thing with Ingmar Bergman, our big man. He did an interview with Playboy, I think, back in like the 80s, and it asked him about violence in cinema and its relation to the contemporary assassination attempt on Ronald Reagan. And he said something about like violence is in every film, but like something like Taxi Driver, which was the specific example, is like an artistic depiction of violence and aggression in the sense that it like sort of like explains it, contextualizes it. It's like part of the story. It's like it's part of the story, but it's not the story. Whereas you also have, he says, pornographic violence, which is violence for the sake of violence, which is which does sort of encourage it. Yeah, which does sort of encourage it for its own sake, and which he says would be way more, which is more of a social thing, and more of like a societal problem, and like an attitude that we take on as a collective, and something that he said was more responsible for what's his name shooting Ronald Reagan. So that was his take on it. He says Scorsese was innocent. He said Taxi Drivers had nothing to do with it, even though the assassin said that was his inspiration.
Yeah, because like this is kind of throwing it back to fucking funny games from whenever the fuck we talk about funny games. But like the fact that like in that film, you never get the chance to like enjoy the violence. You have to live with the aftermath of violence and shit like that. And that's when like it becomes way more real in a way, even though you never see any violence in that film, which is weird. It's weird that violence can have, in some cases, a really like intoxicating effect and a weird like enjoyable aspect to it in a way.
Yeah, that's the thing. The violent part of your brain is like, or it's like the whole thing with like pain and pleasure. Pain and pleasure are just like two sides of the same coin. You know, it's like there's a the whole theories, psychoanalysis and all this stuff. Like,
And so on and so on.
You enjoy pain, and there's like some enjoyable element to it. It's like it's like yin and yang. It's part of life. It's not necessarily anything to do with film, I don't think. It's just like
just humans,
people,
bro.
People enjoy it's not like there wasn't any violence in media before this. Books. Pretty much every classic book is about people getting fucked up, like death and murder and stuff like that. It's like it's a staple of any kind of drama, I think.
You think you get because it's integral to like to humans as a whole, kind of like violent. Like you look at nature. Nature's pretty fucking violent.
Yeah. It wasn't the movies that made those lions do that to that poor antelope.
No.
They
They didn't watch like Planet Earth. And,
didn't watch the Lion
I want to
King.
do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I think as well, it's like this moral panic as well, like trying to like find a scapegoat with like a lot of shit, and it's real fucking easy to be like, well, if you watch violence, you fucking do it. It's like, oh, we have to spend money on mental health services to stop like mass shootings and stuff like that. I think it's way fucking easier if we just ban a few video games.
Yeah, the video nasties, all those lads. There's definitely something to it. It's like you see something cool on TV, like something actually. When I was watching Sopranos, there's a scene. Actually, no, you're in.
Bro, just go ahead, say it. Don't worry.
No. But there's a kill in Sopranos, which is pretty famous. It's one of like the main episodes of that season, and the way the guy is killed was replicated in real life like a few times. Like they did a very specific thing with like how they disposed of the body.
What they do?
They stuck his head in a bowling bag and buried it. So
Nice.
that was people like replicated that. And the actor, I watched an interview with the actor like after I finished Sopranos, and he's talking about like I could become the president of the United States and people still know me as the guy who had his head stuck in a bowling bag, because people sort of knew him more for the way he died in the show, and like that replicated itself in actual crimes in real life, rather than like the rest of his story, the rest of his arc, which was obviously some of the greatest TV anyone's ever seen. But his death, the violence of it, sort of overshadows it,
Yeah. That's such a weirdly specific thing as well. But like I feel like no one killed that. Like if someone was gonna kill someone, they're not gonna like, I'm gonna kill that person so that I can replicate The Sopranos. It's more like, well, we're in this situation already. We might as well replicate The Sopranos.
We might as well make a few references to our favorite films. Yeah, might as well be artistic about it,
Yeah, like how many people have actually been inspired by, like films to actually kill someone though? Like a film is like, this is the reason why, not to like replicate a kill or that I replicated. Well, maybe that does happen, but like being like inspired by a film to carry out a brutal crime and a kill, or like even just fucking act out a form of violence, like a fucking bank robbery or some shit.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
I've never heard of it.
I never heard of it either. Because I remember like when we were learning about that fucking, that the doll thing with the kids watching a violent film or whatever, or like a woman hitting a doll, and then the kids were put into the room with the doll, and then they were allowed. The kids did it. I remember like studying up on like the critiques to it. It's like, this is fucking. It's like, this thing's bullshit. That's literally what the fucking toy. The toy is literally designed that you hit it. Like that's the whole purpose of it.
Yeah, they should have done it with a kid, and see what happened.
An actual person.
Yeah.
Because that's so different as well. It is like a human being and like an inanimate object are two vastly different things.
Yeah, they're quite different, you know. But then, you know, media effects, like, what does that mean, you know?
I think as well, like, in terms of like violence in movies and like its effect, I don't think it does. I think it's like way overplayed
Yeah.
and stuff like that. But like for violence to have like a meaning in a film, like that's what Bergman was saying about like Scorsese. Like it's not just violence for violence sake. It's violence with a meaning and a purpose, and it's artful in a way.
Discursive violence, yeah.
Which is like, I think in some films it does that, like, but in other times, like, because Cannibal Holocaust tries to have a reason for its violence, and it's to have this like brain dead critique of like, you know, the West, like in native lands, and they're the real savages and shit like that. But that's like, it doesn't expand beyond that point, and then it just shows you increasingly more fucked up things to the point where like the meaning and the message to the violence doesn't justify the violence. Which is like a weird case in that, because then in other cases you're like, yeah, like it does. It kind of. I'm trying to think of an example of something that does that.
Of violence in film inspiring real violence.
No, just like having a meaning, and like, and to that level as well, like to the level like Cannibal Holocaust violence. But I can't
Like
really think of one.
Funny Games, isn't it? Funny Games.
Yeah, but Funny Games doesn't show you the violence.
I suppose. Yeah.
Like, I guess irreversible in a way, but like,
Yeah, Irreversible is definitely.
yeah, because like, but I don't even like, but like the point of that film as well is that it is like too much as well. Like, I don't know if it is like, I don't know if a 9-minute fucking rape scene is justified. Like,
Yeah, that really sums it up.
you know what I mean? Like, I don't think that is justified.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. That's also a very subjective thing though as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I read, because Tarantino would obviously be the subject of a lot of things. Of a lot of those accusations, like violence on screen inspiring real violence. And his defense, as far as I could tell, was that like his films have like a meta commentary running through them, that the on-screen violence functions as a catharsis in the real world, like Nazis being shot and stuff like that.
Oh, Nazi
and
getting
like
bludgeoned in the head.
yeah, and like slave owners getting shot is like a catharsis for like real stuff. But I don't know. I think that's pretty dumb. It's pretty.
Yeah, but he was getting those
silly.
critiques even before he made those movies. Like, he was getting it with Pulp Fiction and like Reservoir Dogs.
Yeah.
And there isn't like a catharsis to
There's
the
no-
violence in that. It's just
Yeah.
violence.
Well, Kill Bill would probably say like feminism or something. Or,
Yeah.
like, abusers. I don't. Yeah, Reservoir Dogs and Pulp Fiction. Like, there's.
He's
I don't know
literally
what he's.
torturing a cop for like, well, I guess torturing
Yeah.
a cop, man. But like, he did not mean that. That's not what he meant at all.
Yeah.
And in Pulp Fiction,
he's a
like
silly guy.
there is no catharsis. It's like, you know, except
Yeah.
for
It's still a good movie, but it's like pornographic violence.
Yeah.
You know.
yeah, and a lot of action movies are like that as well. Anyway, like most action films are that. It's just pornographic. Or like it's like, oh, I gotta do this to save my country, and that's the reason why.
Yeah, that's fascist.
Patriotism is the fucking reason is the what's that French term?
The raison d'etre.
The raison d'etre. Like, that's the reason.
Thank you, Miss McMenamin.
Which is just, thank you, Miss McMenamin. Which is just like a fucking lazy fucking excuse to be as violent as fucking possible.
Yeah, like superhero films. Now that's or like, you know, patriotism as like an excuse for violence. I think that's even worse. That's
That
even
is
worse than
like
pornographic.
that is the worst example of it, because people actually do fall for that, and that's
Yeah.
because like you're
That's more justification of something that's already happened,
Yeah.
rather than trying to inspire something. you
Yeah,
know?
it's like,
Like,
it's okay.
that's what people should worry about.
yeah, that 100%. I think that actually is something to worry about. Like, it's like, yeah, I mean, maybe we kind of bombed all these innocent, like, people in the Middle East, but There's this one guy that was going around drilling people in the legs, like a fucking American sniper.
Yeah, even like Iron Man and stuff like that. You know, it's like Iron Man's a great film, but like it's literally just about a weapons dealer who privatizes the military and then like blows up a load of Afghan farmers. You know, and like that's literally he's justifying what already happened a few years previous in real life. That's like he didn't like no one saw Iron Man and went out and was like, I'm gonna do that, because obviously that's ridiculous. But they like retroactively in their head were like, what happened before was okay because Iron Man did it, you know.
Yeah, God, patriotism in film is such a fucking bizarre thing. And then this is like I then asked on the Instagram, what are some examples of like really violent films and stuff like that, or like films that are like too violent in a way. And Keen Duff said the stabbing scene in what's the film called? Legend, yeah, the Tom Hardy Cray brother movie, which I've never seen, but we looked up the stabbing scene, and by holy God, that is a violent fucking scene. Holy shit!
From what we could see, it didn't look good. Didn't look very fun.
Well, it was in like, it wasn't even in 480. It was in 360p.
Yeah,
fucking YouTube.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just some guy stabbing another guy and everyone's watching. It's like, whoa.
But it's like really, like it's literally 30 seconds of a dude just getting repeatedly stabbed over and over and over again. And it's just like gratuitous and really fucked up in violence. That's the kind of like French extremity thing where they go so far with the violence and it makes you really uncomfortable. And like the violence becomes like kind of brutally realistic in a way. Stabbings do that all the time, though. Like as you said before we started recording, stabbings in films are always like really fucked up.
Yeah, because it's like there's something about it because they're so easy to do realistically.
I think there's so much movement as well. It's a lot of
yeah.
Like you're getting punched, but you're getting punched with a knife.
yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, like in the audience's head, like it's so much. Like it looks the exact same as a punch most of the time, but in the audience's head, it's like he has a knife. It's like, oh my God, like you just feel it. And there's like I know you know Zodiac.
Yeah.
Zodiac has a great scene, which is like I assume the scene in Legend is actually based on a real event as well. But the Zodiac, the David Fincher film, has a great scene which is like an exact reconstruction of one of the murders that the Zodiac committed. And it was reconstructed on the basis, it was like advised on by the guy who was actually the victim of the stabbing, like the one survivor. It was like a guy and his girlfriend, and like it's just the Zodiac with like his mask on and like the big fucking his insignia on his chest, and he ties them up, and then he starts stabbing them, and it's like it's so intense, it's ridiculous.
Like that bit is so fucked up.
Yeah, even though you'd only see a little bit of blood that's like just seeping through their clothes at the end, like the final few frames of the scene. But it's so tense and it's so visceral and violent. It's easily the most disturbing scene in the film.
Yeah,
for me, you know.
No, yeah, definitely. I was only thinking there, like, do you think that's like a culture thing as well? Because like, guns are like, you know, they're a formidable force in like, you know, American society. Whereas in like in Irish and like, you know, UK society and stuff like that, they're not really like, they're not like, I don't know anyone that has a gun, you know, unless they're like a hunter or stuff like that. But in America, like it's way more prevalent. So like that's where like stabbings have way more of like an impact, I guess, because it's like
a cultural impact,
or like a cultural like significance kind of, because like. Yeah, like I've heard stories of people in my area that has happened to, or like I know someone who knows someone that happened to.
They got stabbed.
Yeah, they got stabbed, or like got or got bottled and got stabbed afterwards, or something like that.
Yeah, I think stabbing is just way more cinematic. The more cinematic assault choice, you know, like shooting someone. It's like you know the way I've heard like descriptions of people who've been shot, and you don't even notice it at first. Like that's the thing. But I suppose like you also don't notice getting stabbed. But like stabbing is like, I don't know, because you can shoot someone from far away. It's like
up close and personal.
He's way over there. Yeah, stabbing is so personal. Yeah, such a personal kind of thing.
Oh god, stabbing
makes
it
way worse.
Stabbings are fucking scary. Holy fucking shit.
Yeah, just shoot me. I'd rather not be stabbed. You don't know what you're gonna get with the knife. The bullet, you know, it's either it's one or two things, you know. Either you're grand or you're fucked.
Yeah, because like even in terms of, like just trying back to fucking like Pulp Fiction and stuff like that. Like the most of the time it's just like shootings, and I never like shootings are violent, but I don't find gun shootings in films to always be like all that brutal. I'm trying to think off the top of my head, like, but I can't really think of one that I'm like that gunshot is really like fucked up and really like violent and like disturbing. Unless we're talking about fucking Texas Chainsaw remake where she fucking blows her own head off. But like, unless it's something like that, most of the time, like, I just kind of forget that happens. And even if there is blood, it's like, it's not that bad because it's just blood. But if I think about like, I remember fucking Kill Bill where she slices the top of someone's head off with a fucking samurai sword. And I remember her like cutting people's limbs off because that's with a fucking blade. Like, that's where limbs get fucking taken off when it's a fucking blade.
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, guns don't have that kind of that menace in like a visual form. Because I remember when I first saw it, ever see like the uncut footage of the Kennedy assassination?
Yeah.
Which shows what actually happened to him. Like his head just blows up. Like when I first saw that, I don't know, I was like 14 or 15. I'd never seen that like in films. Like I'd never seen a film that actually like realistically depicted what happens when you get shot in the head.
Yeah, because most of the time it's just like a solid bullet hole through, but that's not what happens.
They're like small caliber stuff.
No, the bullet fucking shatters when it hits you, and it fucking explodes out the back of you.
Yeah. I think it's like depends on the bullet or whatever. But Kennedy got shot with a shotgun, I think, and it blew up his head, and his head goes everywhere. I was like, what? It actually does that, you know? It didn't make any sense to me. I suppose it'd be a lot more menacing if that was depicted in film, or getting shot makes you blow up.
But and then Neil Riley's response was that Kill List had me so uncomfortable, and I don't usually mind violence, and I think like that's the thing where like in Kill List the violence in no way is glorified or like Hollywoodized or like, you know, movie-fied or whatever. It is violence in its purest fucking form, because we don't even have context to what the violence is like, why the violence is happening.
Yeah, that's like a cool observation. It's almost like Elephant in that kind of way, you know?
Yeah, Elephant is both elephants, I guess.
Yeah, you don't know why they're killing these people, but they are, and it's like it almost, you know, it almost makes it better, but it's also worse in a way, because it's like, especially in Kill List, because there's no real lead up. Like the 1 second it's just like a sort of standard kind of thriller film ish, and then the next second he's like hammering this guy's fingers off, and the camera doesn't cut. The camera doesn't cut at all, and then he like bashes his head in with the hammer, and the camera still doesn't cut.
God, I remember that so fucking much as well.
And you can hear it as well. You can hear his head on the table.
Sound design for like realistic violence is so fucking important.
It's key. Anyone out there, remember that.
Sound design is so important, but like the sound can carry a lot of it. You don't even have to show it that much unless you got a really good sound. That scene is so fucked.
Kill List is intense. I don't know if it's like up there. That scene is pretty bad.
I think Irreversible is way worse than, like, I think that's way more disturbing. Though I guess I'm kind of desensitized to violence, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, you're mad into that stuff. I couldn't watch half the films you watch, man. Don't know how you do it.
Yeah, I don't know.
Cannibal Holocaust, even, like.
What? Cannibal Holocaust is just shit. Like, it's not even disturbing, it's shit.
But a turtle dies, like.
Yeah, the actual animal violence in Cannibal Holocaust is the worst. Hannibal Holocaust.
Hannibal Holocaust.
He just keeps calling you. You
just
fuck off, Hannibal.
Hello, Clarice.
It's just the end of the film over and over again.
Oh god, that's good.
But yeah, like, how do you feel about like violence in films and stuff like that? Like, what's like examples of like violence that went too far or something like
too far.
Or like really effective uses of violence. I think Funny Games is like the best use of violence in any fucking film because it doesn't even show you the violence and it's really fucked up.
Yeah. In that sort of sense, it is definitely the best use. What's the best? What can I even think of? Like, I don't even know. I don't even know. Yeah, I can't even think of anything. Wait.
It's a hard one. I think in action movies, it can be. In action movies, though, most of the time it's just pure catharsis. Like if anyone's ever seen The Raid, and you see the moment, like I made like this like satisfied noise when I watched The Raid for the first time. When I watched like there's a moment. There's a moment. I just made this cum noise. No, I was like, I made this like oh noise. And satisfied is not the right word at all.
That's your cum noise.
Every time, like, I sound like oh.
Oh, that's good.
But like that moment in The Raid where like he kills someone with a broken door is fucking amazing. It's so good.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe like elephant, because that's like fresh in my mind. Like elephant's a good use in terms of like making it feel real. Like it feels like a real kind of representation of violence. Something like that, you know. Like I love the sort of cathartic violence of something like Halloween, or like not just like in particular, but like, you know, in general, like a good like horror film or a revenge film where the violence is really like you can really, it's like tactile, you can like sort of feel it. It's done well. It's sort of sparing as well. I like those kinds of films as well.
Yeah, revenge films.
Always good.
Always good. The violence in Inglourious Basterds is also very, very cathartic. For that reason, for there's like, it's fucking Nazis getting fucked up. Why are you not gonna enjoy it?
Yeah. Or even remember Green Room? Ever watch that?
No, not yet. But I know the
scene. Yeah.
Yeah, I know the scene.
Yeah. Like it's. I think it is a bit excessive. Like it goes a bit far. But it's not just in that scene. It's more like it's just like an ultra violent film, like as a film, and like that scene sort of like there's a scene where he's like reaching his hand out of a door. They're like trapped inside a room, and he's reaching his hand out, and someone gets a knife and just hacks at his arm. But you see the whole thing, and you see his arm, and you see the aftermath. Like it's not like it cuts away. It's sort of like Funny Games. Like it leaves you with him like screaming, looking at his arm, like that's basically hanging off. But that's more like a. It's like the point where the film just descends into madness.
Yeah.
And so it works in that way, but like it's really it does go a bit far for my tastes for the rest of it. You know, it's just like constant violence all the way through. So. Yeah,
the only thing I know about the violence in Green Room is that it's box cutters, and you realize how fucked up a box cutter actually is.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Box cutters are scary.
Yeah, fuck that. It's just sharp things.
Other like, I guess like a case of like gun violence is fucking RoboCop. Holy shit.
Yeah, that is intense. That scene where he gets fucked up.
Yeah, like it is, shotgun in the shit out of him, blowing off his legs, and his hands, and his arms.
And it's like that's like he's dead after that. Like he never comes back. Like the RoboCop is just like a robot that hallucinates the idea that he's the guy who was killed there, and that makes that scene like way much worse. Like RoboCop's not like a conventional revenge film, even though like that's actually a great example of like violence that's really cathartic because you're like, oh fuck these guys. They killed Murphy.
God,
they get,
and by God, they get fucked up afterwards.
Yeah, they get fucked up bad, and it's hilarious and it's great, and it's really like you really feel it. But like that's not Murphy. Like Murphy is dead, and the robot just thinks he's Murphy, and that makes it so much worse. Spoiler alert for RoboCop, but like, you know,
yeah,
you know,
yeah. Even in Toxic Avenger, like the violence in Toxic Avenger, there's like, yeah, these are really fucked up guys, and they get really fucked up, but I don't know, they're really heinous and fucked up. But I don't know, maybe it's just a me thing, but like when violence something like really violent happens, yeah, I like for me like I always imagine myself as the victim of violence rather than the perpetrator of violence.
No, yeah, definitely. You have to put yourself in the victim's shoes. And the guys in Toxic Avenger, oh, those are some pretty sweaty shoes. I felt bad for those
Don't
guys.
be in those shoes, man.
Yeah, Jesus. Felt bad for, the part where he sticks the girl on like the sauna, like that was just like, oh, you know.
Yeah, you can feel it because you've been burnt before.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
That's one of the things.
I've been burnt by a sauna before. Yeah, I can.
Oh
relate
yeah,
to this
man,
girl,
you
know?
got basically got what happened to that girl.
Yeah.
You holy shit, forgot about that.
Yeah.
Fucking almost lost a foot.
Yeah, and she got her whole ass on it. I was like, oh my.
Which is, I guess, like for us as well. Back to the knife things. Like I've held the gun before as well. But like every day I pick up a really sharp knife. And like my uncle was a hunter, just to throw that out there.
I've been on the streets before. I know how this works.
Let me tell you, Merino is tough.
I've been shot before. I know what it's like.
But like
knives.
I've held knives every fucking day, and it's like, and I held the weight of a knife. You're like, holy shit! Imagine getting fucking cut with this.
Yeah.
Paper cuts fucking hurt, man.
Yeah. Imagine. Yeah, paper cuts. Yeah, imagine getting stabbed with a knife. Jesus, not my vibe.
Not a good vibe.
But yeah, is that it?
We leave it at that. So
yeah, we'll call it a day.
What's your recommended movie for the next?
My
few weeks?
recommended movie for episode 29 is Penda's Fen, a BBC television play from 1974. Written by David Rudkin, directed by the big man Alan Clark, who also directed Elephant and Scum and like other things. It's not really well known, but it's probably one of the greatest films ever made. Just saying. So go in there with that expectation. And it's like, no, it's really good. Give it a watch. Very.
It's short as well. It's only like 90 minutes as well.
Yeah. It was like it's just a television play. It's basically just a TV. It's sort of like Threads in that kind of way. It was just made to be watched by the public. So it's not some mad abstract avant-garde film. It's just like pretty straightforward, very well written. It's like a folk horror kind of vibe. Pretty scary, but also makes you think. So
makes you think.
Yep.
Maybe this time I got some fucking subtext.
Yeah. It's just all subtext with this one. All subtext.
Sweet. That's what I want. All right, see you everyone. We'll be back next week again talking about whatever. Who knows?
Whatever. Yeah. God bless.
All right, see you everyone.
Bye.